Would you like to live forever? Do you want to be a part of the Human Immortal Project? And for sure, you want to contact your physician, your doctor, seek medical advice before participating in these trials. Side effects include uh, a loss of ego. Um, for some, it's a loss of purpose and maybe a feeling of joy and ability to let go. The ability to actually be present in time because you are not constantly thinking that it is ending and it's a fleeting moment that you'll never be able to actually grasp. A sense of stillness is a common side effect during these trials of the Human Immortal Project. And um, let's not even sugarcoat this question of life. A whole bunch of existential questions start to pop up. Super common side effect. What is life? What is the purpose? Maybe the timeline on the time that we have on this earth, the fact that it is not infinite, maybe that gives meaning to it. And these questions start to ramble about and wrestle inside of your mind while you're going through these trials. And you may want to get off the ride. And because you're able to continue this ride forever, you might have to eject yourself. So these are things that you're now wrestling with. Uh, you were before looking forward to decades, now you're looking forward to centuries. These common side effects, honestly, for many, it will be too much. So consult your doctor, consult your loved ones, consult your friends before participating in these trials of the human immortality project because it's it's a serious thing. It's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. Um, you're going to be ridiculed. You're going to see people rejecting your entire way of life, saying that everybody is trying to play God and we are just mere humans on this dot upon a sea of other dots and this other sea of even larger circle of dots. It's ridiculous how many planets and solar systems and universes there or galaxies rather there are in the universe, and we're just humans. It's not our place. That's what they're gonna say. So if these type of feelings start to overwhelm you, again, you're gonna want to contact a professional immediately. These are just the safety guidelines that we have to go over while explaining the Human Immortality Project to everybody. So don't feel offended or special in any way, whichever side that you would like to lean towards. This is just normal. It's normal. It's just like when you see diabetes medicine or something, and you hear all the side effects in the commercial. It's just that uh, this is going to change lives. It's going to change the world. And if you're ready to be a part of that, then please, by all means, sign up. There's no age limit. Uh, this is one of those where ageism is not allowed. So whether you are an 80-year-old that doesn't want to meet their maker, or if you are a 20-year-old that what I mean, you're already having fun. You want to go ahead and sign up. This is going to be the life that you want to live forever. The Human Immortality Project, it gets so ridiculed. It's consistently put in such a negative light just because the natural process. of everything is just completely ignored in this. And if your doctor is not participating in the trials, I wouldn't consult with them. You already know what they're going to say. So consult with your doctor and make sure that you guys are already on the same page. You guys already need to be on the same wavelength. He needs to already be drinking the Kool-Aid, needs to already be trying to live forever. Because if not, it's too big of a chance that the fear will start to take over. That they'll start to weaponize that and use it against you. So you gotta be fast. You gotta be quick. You gotta look around. And the Human Immortality Project is something that we have been working on since, well, humans became human, I guess. You know, the fountain of youth. How do I live forever? How do I keep my skin so nice? And we try all of these barbaric ways of staying youthful in appearance. We cut into our skin just to pull at it and make it a little bit tighter. And it's kind of weird when you think about your skin being an organ, the largest organ that we have, and we just constantly fuck with it to try and alter our appearance, make it look like we are younger than we are, or like we can just stay the same age. Like, wow, it's like you don't age. So, well, you know, just gotta take care of myself. Don't mind the Botox. And what's crazy is the Human Immortality Project, it wipes all of that away, you know. Um, I think we're going to be looking at that the same way that we look at lobotomy. Like, what were you thinking? She's manic. Uh, he's seeing things. I know exactly what we can do. We're gonna take this fucking stick. We're just gonna jam it right here, right on their eye. And don't worry, I'm a doctor. It's okay. It's okay. I have a lab coat. You might not have seen it with my name tag. Doctor, I got your back. And this is gonna be perfectly safe. Let's take this stick and just jam it right down your eye. And it's gonna get this little part of your brain that's making you sick. This is the part that's making you feel sadness and grief and, all of the sorrow that you feel in life, all of the things that you're trying to avoid. It's gonna be gone. I got you. Doctor got your back. I guess they already knew what my profession would be when they gave me this last name. And honestly, I put this lab coat on and I haven't looked back ever since. It's been eye opening how many minds I've helped by going through their eyes. It's crazy. And somebody asked me before, I said, Doctor, I got your back. You're genius. I don't know how else to say it to you. You're everything that I look up to. You're everything that I want to be, that I aspire to. This procedure, the lobotomy, it's genius. How did you think of this? What made you think of it? Well, I'm happy you asked. So, we all suffer from all of these different ailments and sicknesses. And one day I just woke up and I realized it all comes from the brain. If somebody is completely knocked out, you can come up and just jam them with the needle. They don't even notice. They don't flinch. Trust me, I've tried. And it's okay. I can do this because I have a lab coat. Then I was like, okay, if it's just our brain recognizing all of this, between the pain and the sickness that we have, our body is going to do what our body has to do. There has to be a way to tap into it. And then in the distance, I start to hear a tap. And wouldn't you know, somebody's just hammering a nail into their wall on the outside of their house. And as my neighbor was doing this, I had an epiphany. Life changing. I realized that with this lab coat, I'm able to do whatever the fuck I want. So I go into the employee lounge and I take all of the nurses' lunch that they bring. And it was there as I was sitting eating all of the different nurses' lunch that I'm like, wow, I could just take this stick and put it right into somebody's eye, and then that will probably reach their brain. And hopefully, if there's any luck, somewhere in that area, there's an off button to whatever sickness that they have. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many different sicknesses out there, you know. If you have one lady, she came in, poor thing, she was acting erratic. I think she was on her menstrual cycle. Poor lady wasn't chained up by her husband. She got away. Said he was crazy. I said, ma'am, do you not realize that you're in heat right now? And then she started looking at me like I was crazy. And here I am, doctor, got your back, in a lab coat, mind you, looking at me as if I'm crazy. In a psych ward, I know crazy, looking at me. And she tries to get away. Luckily, I just get the orderlies to get her and strap her down. And your first thought, as I was getting to, might be if you have somebody that is suffering with this, with which even after the menstrual cycle passed, she was just erratic, upset, saying, let me out over and over. I think she was having some sort of vision of being in a cage or something. It made no sense. I knew right then and there that she was going to have to get the answer. A case like that, it chills your bones. It really does. But then you have a man who is also very frantic, and he is seeing visions. He is saying that spirits among us are real, and they're walking among us. And there's lizard people and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. He was found in the streets eating rocks. Not a This is really hard to talk about. Not a single thing I was saying in my lab coat was calming him down. I kept telling him to relax. That I'm a doctor. That I'm here to help. It's in the name. I got your back. I'm here. So, in a long way to answer the question that you obviously had, which is this amazing genius approach, this medical breakthrough, how would it apply to these two different people? And it's simple. The off switch is in the same spot. It's in the same spot. It's right there in the brain. I happen to find it. It happens to be right where I first tried. Some might call it luck. Some might say that I'm some sort of divine intervention. Because after, not a peep. Not a peep. Out of the woman, out of the man, out of any of the other people. Such a such a great invention. If I do say so myself, I might hurt my shoulder, dislocate it, patting myself on the back because it's that great. But where was I? The Human Immortality Project. This is why we should live forever, by the way. Out of all of the different things that are given to us, out of all of the different procedures, the skincare, the you got to make sure you wear sunscreen. Oh, wait, you can't wear sunscreen because there's toxins in there and it's messing with your skin. We do so many things to our skin, to our bodies, just to try and appear young. And like I said, looking back at the fucking lobotomy, it's crazy. Like it's gotta be like where your mentality has to be in a place where yes, once a month you have to strap her down because she is bleeding, and whether it's your wife or your daughter or whatever, and some weird shit. And if you are not a white male, then you have no say. And I don't know, like just a different fucking time. And all of these are just, I guess, what are they? What are they called? They're just things that I've seen in like TV shows and movies and shit like that. So I feel like a lot of it wasn't even captured. Like the big things might have been captured. The type of people back then, it was like a whole different type of ideology. Like the things that they cared about, the things that they thought were just. You know what I mean? So I think there's gonna be some point in time where we're gonna look back and think it's absolutely crazy that we would put like silicone shit to make our titties look bigger and fake asses and you know what I mean. I saw some shit where it was like a dude was able to grow his bones because he wanted to be taller. And that's what it's like. Let me look this shit up actually. Make sure I'm quoting this shit right. Knee extension surgery. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so it's showing real before and after of people doing leg extension surgeries. So, and I'll probably like pop some up, so we can kind of look at them together. It's crazy what we do, you know. So it's not just looking young. It's I gotta be genetically perfect. I want to hit that 6 foot and beyond threshold. I can't be no I don't know even what the average height is. But you know what I mean? Like short for a man. Like you don't want to be no like 5'8", 5'7" type shit. Um, you know what I mean? You wanna bust through that 6 foot. You don't want to be no A cup as a girl. You want to be double D's. What you mean? You don't want to have no flat ass. You want to have that thing that motherfuckers break their neck looking at when you walk past. I don't know. Like you can call it egotistical. You can call it vanity. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's something that we appear to continuously do. And you know what? I should look up like when the beauty industry even started. When did the beauty industry begin to boom? All right, so the beauty industry began to boom in the roaring 20s and continued into the 1930s. All right, so and it said this era saw a surge in beauty products and services driven by factors like the rise of Hollywood glamour and the increasing acceptance of cosmetics. Which, okay, so that makes sense. So, so basically, as soon as Hollywood began to be a more popularly known thing, that's when we started being like, okay, hold on. Let me keep up with the Joneses. Let me make sure that I look tip top. I don't want to be compared to, Billy or Sue. I want to make sure that I'm at minimum just as good as, preferably better than. Because this is where I get myself feeling of self-worth, and this is the fuel for my self-acceptance. This is the only way that I can see myself as a passable human being, is if I'm constantly making sure that I hide anything that not only that I consider flaws, but anything that other people consider flaws. You feel me? So like I wonder when women started to shave their legs and their armpits and their hoo-has. You feel me? Like when did all of that type of grooming start? And if you look at it going back to like the 1920s or whatever, if you look at the lead action role movie stars, they look nothing like how they look now. They weren't fucking ripped as hell. You know what I mean? Perfectly symmetrical. Or they might have been symmetrical. They might have looked for some good looking dudes and women, but it wasn't like where it is now, where it's like something like the different Barbie dolls and Ken dolls is straight out of that. And again, dudes getting even more jacked from the 1920s to 2020s. It's got to be a hell of a difference. And it only makes sense that the beauty industry actually started to take off when uh when we started looking at other people more, because it's not just you're looking at other people, it's your spouse looking at other people, or your potential spouse looking at other people. So now you're not just competing, and some people would, I guess, hate to hear that type of terminology, but let's say you're growing up and it's like back in the days where people don't really move out of their hometown like that, right? If you have, let's just put a number out there, you got 50 dudes, 50 girls, like this is the generation that's coming up. Out of that, um, you have to only, you know what I'm saying? You're going to end up matching up with certain people. So, in a way, it is a competition. And when you're just competing with the people in your town, it's one thing. But when you have to start expanding that and start watching movies, and then you know what I mean, and then you start to expand how many movies there are, how easy it is to see it, and then it's not even just those type of movies. It's now we're slipping into like the porn industry, so maybe that even explains how like certain trends go cosmetically when it comes to, again, like your pubic hair and shit like that, or even your leg hair. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is what's in porn, so this must be what Johnny wants me to do. You know, he wants me to sound like that when we do it. Okay, you know what I mean? And we're all just we're all just these hairless monkeys that are constantly looking for some sense of direction, and we're looking at everybody else to kind of get a pulse of what we should and shouldn't do. So if we fast forward again, we talked about the 1920s to the 2020s. What about the 2120s? I think that's when we're going to look back at all of these different plastic surgery type of things, and we're just going to, as people, we're going to look back like, oh, like just with pity. Like, I can't believe you just mutilated yourself like that. Like, how how barbaric, you know? Like the way that we look at cavemen, cave people doing their thing or whatever, hunting with spears. Why, it's like, why aren't you using a gun? I don't know. Like, wow, barbaric. Because with the Human Immortality Project, we'll be able to just reverse your cells. You know, all you are is a collection of cells, and they age. And like all of our trolls, our haters, the ones that are so anti us, the anti hip movement. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag hip. Um, I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe we'll start trending. Gotta go viral, as the kids say. And that's what I plan to do with hip. Hashtag you know it. Hashtag doctor got your back. So with the Human Immortality Project, we'll take your simple construct of all of your cells and we'll reverse them. And the people that say, oh, this isn't natural, everything dies, they're right. Your cells, they live, they're young, they're vibrant, they're very elastic, and then they get old and they get brittle and they die. And there's like there's this jellyfish called the immortal jellyfish. Okay, so the immortal jellyfish is a small predatory marine invertebrate with a unique ability to reverse its life cycle and potentially live forever. When stressed, injured, or old, it can transform its cells into a younger state, essentially reverting to an earlier stage of its life. This process is called transdifferentiation. So, transdifferentiation is basically why limit it to a jellyfish? You know, you're right. The naysayers, the booers, the anti-hippers, they say that it's not natural. They say it's not supposed to be something that lasts forever. Our cells, they die. And you're right. Fortunately, that doesn't mean that they have to end. They do grow old. They do start to die. You have skin cells that die every single day. But that doesn't mean that you can't start to reverse some of your cells and come back to a more youthful version of you. Why cut into your skin to try to pretend to be some tight version of yourself? You can't even make face wrinkles anymore because your skin has been tightened so much. Why do that to yourself? Why mutilate your body? Why be so barbaric? And knowing you have the hip movement, you have the human immortality project at your side, at your disposal, and it is going to cost, of course, but luckily, it's only going to cost the most when the most people are scared to do it. So if this is you, again, contact your physician. Make sure that they are in the hip club. You'll be able to tell because after you lift their hair, or if they have shaved head, that's even perfect. It should be right on the back of their neck, and if not, it might be underneath their collar. In fact, if it's a doctor like me, it'll be right underneath their lab coat. You'll see hashtag HIP, hashtag doctor got your back. Um, this is how you know if you have the right doctor and the right physician to bring it up to. And the most awkward part is just finding the tattoo. Um, I used the I slipped and fell method. Um, yeah, slipped and fell to the back of your neck. I'm so sorry. But now that I see this tattoo, I would like to talk about my immortality, please. And I was actually I was talking to my mom about this. That's a true story. Uh, I was just telling her about all of the different crazy scientific breakthroughs with like AI and the ability to live forever. And I asked her, it's like, would you want to live to 150 years old instead of, what I mean, whatever age? She was like, ooh, no, I would not want to be that old. And I was like, why? And she said, well, I wouldn't want to live that long because, I mean, be moving around and, you know what I mean? I probably wouldn't be able to do the things that I want to do. I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. Potentially somebody's taking care of me. And no, I don't think I want that. I don't think that I would want to continue to live for the sake of living just because, just because, you know, I can. And that completely makes sense. That makes sense. Who would want to live forever just to be wheeled around, just to feel like you are a fraction of what you used to be, just a, you know what I mean, a small particle of the great being of your youthful self. This it's got to feel like shit. It's got to. And you see depicted in a lot of different like TV shows and movies and film in general, where it's like the young make fun of the old. And I might criticize the old on the road sometimes. Just because, coincidence, goddamn, it's about 90% of the time you look about 90, bro. Like, but putting in criticism aside, you see in like TV and film that it's kind of like I'm making fun of you. I'm never going to age. I'm young. Look at that old person. And I never felt that way. I remember always looking at older people and kind of thinking like that's gonna be me one day, and then also kind of like switching it and be like they were like me at one point, like they were young, and it's like it just makes me think. Do you ever like think back like damn, like this is just my life now. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm starting to bald, or I have like a beer gut, or like my skin is drooping, or like, you know what I mean? I'm getting like that drooping neck thing, or my elbows start to droop. Like it's a lot of drooping. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you ever like think back like damn, life used to be different. I used to be a lot more mobile. I used to be able to do a lot more. I used to feel a lot better. And I don't know how deeply I really went into it, especially as a kid, but I remember always looking at older people like that, especially like my grandparents. And it makes sense to not want to be some fractured version of yourself. I wouldn't want to do that shit. But the really cool thing is they're working to make it where this isn't even a fucking thing. It's not one of those where, oh yeah, you're getting older and you could just live. Like, no, it's also like, how long can we extend longevity? Meaning, how can we make you feel like you are 30 when you're 80 and feel like you're 50 when you're 120? You know what I'm saying? So, given that aspect, and when I said that to my mom, it was like, okay, what if you were 150 years old, but you move around just like you do now? You know, my mom's in her 50s, and she was like, oh well, I would like that. Yeah, sign me up. It's like, okay. So then now we realize that a lot of the people that are scared of, like, ooh, her first reaction was, oh, they're doing that. Oh, because it's like, oh, you're playing with God. Like you're making the ending of what we're honestly all dreading. Nobody wants to die, you know what I mean, for the most part, obviously. But nobody wants to be at that point, like I said, where you're in Florida, you're retired, and you know what I mean, you're a fractured version of yourself, and you can't really even use the damn bathroom, so you're pissing and shitting on yourself. And when you do walk around, you got one of those little bags where you have to, urinate in it, and you got like the catheter or whatever it is. It's just, it's a different type of existence that nobody wants to run towards. So I think a lot of the fear that people have is when you're like, okay, you're extending lifespan. Okay, why would I want to do that? You know what I mean? Once I get to like 90 years old, it's like kind of one of those, if a machine has to keep me going, pull the plug type of mentality. Like, why would I want to continue my life? For what? So my great great grandkids can pay my hospice bills, and I can have some stranger wipe my ass because I can't make it to the bathroom and I have bed sores because they don't really flip me. And then, you know what I'm saying, I feel like I don't even get visited that much from my family, but I don't want to make them feel bad because I know they have their own lives, and I was just like that at one point. And goddamn, this is just the circle of fucking life, like Lion King, that we all kind of try to avoid. Of course you want to run away from that. Of course, that's scary. Of course, extending that sounds like, wow, you must be a masochist. You must really enjoy the torture. But when you start looking at it like, okay, but now instead of your great great grandkids paying for your hospice bills, actually you're able to still work or do whatever you got to do to feel fulfillment and make money and do whatever you want to do in life. Plus, you get to play with your grandkids. Here you are, 150 years old, and you're running around in the backyard, in the sprinklers, on the trampoline. You're doing shit with them. You know, you're jumping in the pool with the family dog. You're laughing. You're having a good time. And it doesn't mean that you live forever, no matter what. Nothing can stop me. It means as long as I'm a smart person that is, you know, giving to society, I'm contributing, then everything should be good for me. God forbid any drunk drivers, which hopefully that will all end up being a thing of the past because autonomous driving, and nobody drives anymore. What are you talking about? Well, Dad's so old. He was around back when they used to drive. What if what if we were the first generation to actually be the immortals? And we break down these different generations, like, I don't know, the Gen Z, you got millennial, you got the boomers or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm talking about? They got all of the different fucking generations, and it's like every like 20 or whatever amount of years, right? What if it's different than that? Like they start going based off of like centuries or like the millennial or millennia or whatever it is, like every 1,000 years. And it's like, wow, we were among the first to be immortal. The ones that were around when people were still able to naturally die. What if there's a future where the only deaths are murders and accidents and things like that? It said that the immortal jellyfish can potentially live forever. It could still be eaten. It could still become food. It could still, I don't know, it might be too deep in the ocean as far as like where it prefers to be. But just for this hypothetical, it could end up getting too close to the surface and a boat goes by and the motor just like rips it to shreds. So it doesn't become food, but an accident happens and it dies. You can't regenerate yourselves from that. Good luck. It doesn't work that way. So as long as you're smart, right? As long as you're a little bit of luck in there and you're contributing to society, so like you have some sort of sense of fulfillment. And I guess I can go down that rabbit hole a little bit because if you're not feeling fulfilled, I say contribute to society because that's where a lot of people can feel fulfillment. Like I help people at my job, or society can even be like your family. You know what I mean? So I'm contributing to my family, and I'm helping out with that, whatever situation it may be. That's somewhere where you can say I derive some sense of joy and fulfillment from that, and that is where we get into that pesky little thing called a reason to live. So without that, you might start suffering from some of those symptoms like, what is life? Why should I keep going? What is the purpose? Why do I even need to be here anymore? I know I can be. So I guess the real question comes down to, are we prepared to live in a world where the only deaths that happen are either like a malicious type of like a murder type of thing or an accident type of thing, and people just saying that they're ready? I'm done. I think I'm good. I've done enough. I've gone long enough. Whether that's 100 years, 300 years, 1,000 years. How many times have your cells regenerated? How many times have you participated in the Human Immortality Project? And thank you so much. Can you please make sure you put hashtag hip in all of your social posts and tell all of your friends. If you do end up sending us our way, you end up getting a $20 gift certificate that you can't use anywhere else except on campus at the hip campus. Um, of course, you can use that towards any more sessions that you like to use, or we actually just opened up a gift shop. It has hashtag hip on basically all of our merch, just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. Um, but yeah, so please refer as many people as you can to the project. But be that as it may, be that as it may, you you have a whole bunch of people that they'll be given the ultimatum, the dilemma, or whatever it's called, that most of us don't really ever even contemplate, and will technically never have to. All of us will die. Our time will come, right? Well, until the Human Immortality Project, that is. For almost all of time so far, humans, they die. You know your time is coming. You know that you can't escape death for too long. So when you take that away, you're just left with people that are able to choose when they're ready to move on. Because let's say you do believe that there is some sort of life after death, whether you go to heaven or hell or you're reincarnated, like, I just kind of want to start this over. Let's just hit the reset on the game, you know what I mean? Whatever ideology or belief that you may have, if you were at that point where you're just like, okay, 854, man, I've done good. I put 854 years in. I think I'm good. I'm done. It's going to be an entirely different world, especially since, and we talked about this in the last episode, where you have laws in place against unlifing yourself, you know, pulling the plug, hitting the reset. There are laws in place against that where you can't do that. And if you fail, we are holding you. 72 hours, you are mine. We got to make sure you're not a danger to yourself. Can't hurt yourself. Can't do that. But in this future, where the only deaths that happen are by accident, like, holy shit. Like, what do you mean? Granny stepped off the curb and ran right into an autonomous car and she went splat. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's crazy. This doesn't really happen. You know, you're not constantly being confronted with the natural passing of life. You're not being confronted with the face of death constantly. A loved one that's gotten old or got sick, you're going to have to be able to accept people choosing when to be done. At what point would you say, okay, like you've done enough time? And if there are laws in place, it's like, hey, you got to at least do one human lifespan before you talk about doing that. And that's really weird to think about. Like, yeah, I think I'm done, but they said the average, human age is like 74, and I'm only like 68. You feel me? So gotta wait a few years before I can actually go to the retirement home, and that's what they would call it. They'd call it the same thing. It'd probably still be in Florida, fucking Florida. You know, that's it's just where you go. You just say I'm good. Hit the reset, and my my first thought when I first I guess it wasn't my first thought, but one of my initial thoughts when I heard about the Human Immortality Project hashtag Help for Life, my first thought was like, wow, this is going to make a lot of people's dreams come true, right? Because I was thinking of vampire movies, right? Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this, and not like the typical like 30 Days a Night type of shit. I'm talking about like the vampires, like Twilight, you know, Interview with the Vampire type of thing. Like, oh wow, look at this immortal being, this this thing that just sucks blood from my entire species. Like, wow, but look, they're just so deep. It's like they're just so trouble. They go through a lot. They don't want this. This is just this was put on them. This is how they live forever. They're immortal. They don't die. This fascination, and let's be real, it's mostly like where the dude is the vampire, and it's like a human woman. And maybe it's one of those. Like it's in books, but it doesn't mean people really have a fascination or like some sort of fantasy. But I don't know, man. Like I bet if you go into some of the darkest Reddit things, you feel me? Like I don't know. I feel like you might end up seeing some groups of people that are like, yeah, like I totally fuck the shit out of a vampire. I'd get my blood sucked. You know, you're gonna have some people that are just like into some weird shit like that. You know, like I'm gonna set my friends up. These random people. I'm gonna set them up to get fed to this really awesome immortal creature that I've fallen in love with. A lot of people's fantasies will be able to come true, and that's kind of creepy because on the other end you got a whole bunch of fucking sickos that they like fucking pedophiles that they're after these little teeny boppers or fucking even worse, like Jesus, it's like a fucking 50-year-old with like a fucking 13-year-old, some nasty ass shit. You've gotten these since for how long? You know what I mean? How long have we had fucking child molesters and shit? God, now you're just gonna have like fucking 300-year-old child molesters that look like they're 20. Fuck, they might even, and it's like who's to say that there's like a limit? They said you could reverse the aging of your cells. Like, is it like Benjamin Button, the curse of Benjamin Button, where you can actually go, you can go all the way back? How far could you go back? So now you got these fucking sickos that are turning themselves back into 14-year-old boys or 14-year-old girls. Let's be fucking real. It's mostly men with this shit. And deep down inside, they're just like 300 years old. I'm 300, but today I'm going to be 14 and I'm going to be in eighth grade for, it's like my 130th time. Nothing serious. Um, and I'm going to just like be passing notes. I'm going to be passing notes with little Susie Q, but she doesn't know. Deep down inside, I've taken the Human Immortality Project program. You know what I mean? I've gone through. I got the tattoo on the back of my neck, and hopefully she never sees. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's scary. It's scary because then it's like, do you have to verify your age? Actually, where a birth certificate is going to be more vital than it has ever been. Like, no, I need you to verify your actual age. I don't care what you look like. We're talking about how you got deep fakes where you don't, first it's like, okay, a photo can be doctored. Okay, now a video can be doctored. It's like, okay, well, now people can be doctored. So, like, hey, I'm here to take your daughter to prom. The fuck you are, nigga. Where's your birth certificate? Sir, you might be older than me. You know what I mean? Like, I need to see. How old are you? How old are you? Are you taking my daughter to prom? You talking about like you're 16? Nigga, you look 16, but that don't mean shit. This could be doctored. It's kind of scary to think about all of the different rules that will be completely changed just because we live forever. You know what I mean? Like, I think I heard something where Trump is talking about like he like brought up, I don't know if it's like official or whatever, but something like where he brought up where you get paid if you have a baby for the first time or whatever, because there's like a baby crisis. Less people are having babies than ever before and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? You have to have a certain amount of babies born to actually replace our population. What does that mean if you can just live forever? What does that mean if you've got hashtag hip on the back of your neck? You know, it doesn't mean much. Uh, why would uh why would people feel the need to continue making babies if they actually see overpopulation start to happen? And I mean real overpopulation, because you know, if you actually like start digging, they've been talking about we're going to run out of space and food and resources and blah blah blah. Billions of people ago, like they've been predicted that we wouldn't have enough. So, who knows what that real like top number is? I don't want to fucking find out. And hopefully, this isn't going to be one of those where you got a whole bunch of people that are just doing a whole bunch of the same things and they're just starting to multiply. Hopefully this means because people are able to go through the human immortality project and live forever. They can live as long as no accidents happen, as long as nobody has some sort of grudge against them and decides to do some sort of, heinous act of crime against them. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're doing some sort of like murder or some shit like that. I don't know. I was trying to think of another act besides murder that would end. No, it's just guess it's just murder. So if you get murdered or an accident, if those are the only ways, maybe it'll be one of those worlds where it's just like, ego starts to just slide away. A lot of this, I'm trying to be the best and show everybody that I'm better than everybody else and all of that. It might just start to slip away, and maybe this is the type of thing that people need to evolve mentally. Maybe because of this, we'll realize that we are all in it together. That, hey, unless we start taking, like, personally taking things out, or somebody's like stupid, and that's almost like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that just happens. You can't help that. But if somebody does something stupid or some, terrible accident happens where those are the only ways where we're actually getting eliminated now. Maybe that changes people's minds and they start to think like we are really in this together. It's really easy to say, okay, like I'm all for myself because we live, we die, we're here, we're gone. We might as well, you feel me, live it up while we're on this planet. If that goes away, I wonder if a sense of community comes in its place. I wonder if a lot of people will get their sense of fulfillment from that. Maybe. But these are the type of things that the naysayers, they're gonna they're gonna talk shit. They're going to try and bring you down. They're gonna try and say that you're not you're not ready for this. You're not ready to play God. We are not ready for this. But I say in return, hashtag Doctor got your back. You know that the lab coat means that everything that I say, and I don't have the lab coat on now, but believe me, it has a name tag, and it's still good from my lobotomy days, and yeah, I think the Human Immortality Project is going to change a lot of lives, but all I can do is hope that we survive it. That we become the first generation, Generation Alpha, the first people that turned 1,000. You know what I mean? Where it's like, wow. Before it's like I want to be younger. Now it's like everybody's gonna look younger. It's like how old are you? That's how you virtue signal. Like, oh, I just turned 1100. Wow. And you're still going. Yeah, yeah. Still have fulfillment. I still got it. I'm still happy. Still haven't been shipped off to Florida. Fucking Florida. All right. That's all I got for you, man. You know, fucking Get Xuded podcast. Um, I'm sorry to all of the tattoo artists out there that are going to have to put hashtag HIP on the back of so many necks. I know it gets old and overwhelming sometimes doing the same tattoo over and over again. But again, if you end up putting this hashtag hip, hashtag Doctor Got Your Back in all of your social posts, you'll end up getting a $20 gift certificate for every friend that you refer that ends up signing up for the program. I'm not saying that we are the best in town. I'm saying that we are the best in this fucking world. That's it. And I wanted to end on that very humble advertisement read. Um, yeah, that was perfect.